Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad you've joined me thus far, and now, without further ado, we'll be delving into the story of Throne of Bhaal, the conclusion of Abdel Adrian's story, and a large part of where Baldur's Gate 3 will pick up. So, if you've been with me this far, I want to thank you, and I raise a flag to you as we now delve into Throne of Bhaal. Welcome back, and now let's explore into Throne of Bhaal. The events of this game takes place immediately after the events of Baldur's Gate 2, and the realm of Tether is under much duress as many of the Bhaal spawn are being hunted down. Unbeknownst to people that this is being antagonized by a group known simply as the Five, the people who will become the villains of this section of the game. During Abdel Adrian's journey to find safety with Imawin and Jaheira, he encounters the first member of the Five, a woman by the name of Ilsara the Hunter. She is a cross between a druid and a ranger, and her abilities to pervert the wilderness is the only thing that allows Jaheira to sense that she is around before she launches her ambush against the group. Her arrows are able to stop Abdel from using his regenerative properties, as they are enchanted with these special runes. Weapons like this is the one thing that the members of the Five share in common. It does much damage to Abdel, but he is able to defeat her through use of just sheer strength, and it is not an easy task. In doing so, he absorbs her Bhaal essence and then is immediately transported involuntarily to the realm of Bhaal, where he meets Sarevok again. Now, Sarevok asks Abdel to bring him back to life. In exchange for doing so, he agrees to not only help Abdel in his travels, but also to inform him of why he is now being hunted. Abdel is not keen on doing this, but seeing as Sarevok is the only person with knowledge of what's going on, against his better judgment, he decides to bring Sarevok back, and has Jaheira perform the ritual that Sarevok provided him with. This brings Sarevok back to life, but not in a normal sense. He seems to be more akin to a suit of animated armor, for he no longer seems to need to sleep or eat, and he never takes his armor off anymore. He is now also bonded to Abdel. Now, he informs them that they need to travel to Saradush to meet a woman by the name of Melisande, who can provide more insight of who the Five are and what they are trying to do. When they arrive at Saradush, they come to find out that it is under siege by one of the members of the Five and his army. They sneak into the city, meeting Melisande and a half-orc general by the name of Gromnir Ilkhan, a Bhaal spawn who has taken control of the city. He is currently in charge, and they learn some more info about the Five and the fact that they are trying to bring Bhaal back to life so that he will no longer be a dead god. Abdel, deciding that the best way to end this siege is to challenge Yagashura to singular combat, goes out of the city's walls to fight him. In this challenge, he sees that Yagashura's weapons are similarly enchanted to Ilisara's, and knows that this will not be an easy fight and that he cannot rely on his regeneration anymore. He is able to fight toe-to-toe with this fire giant due to his inhuman strength. And he quickly learns that Yagashura shares his regenerative properties. It is only due to his superior combat abilities that he is able to strip Yagashura of his weapon and use it against him to achieve victory. This causes him once again to instantly travel to the realm of Bhaal, though he doesn't stay here long. And when he returns, he sees that open battle has started. Gromnir Ilkhan, fearing that Abdel has betrayed them, attacks him, and he ends up killing Gromnir as well. During this time, he also sees that the city is under attack by a red dragon. And as he journeys back into the city to face this red dragon down, he ends up being able to fight it and do some damage to it. But it ends up fleeing and capturing Jaheira in the process. Realizing that the city is lost, Melisande decides that it'll be best if the group flees away, since most likely none of the Bhaal spawn other than the five, Abdel, and Imoen have survived the day. So she takes them to a Mechathron. This is a monastery that her only remaining ally, Balthasar, is in charge of. After getting there safely, Abdel immediately decides that he wants to chase down the dragon that captured Jaheira. So he follows it into the mountains. In these mountains, Saravak shows back up, who's been missing ever since the start of the battle in Saradush. Not knowing why he's showing up now, Abdel is not too keen on his alliance anymore and doesn't trust him and tells him to leave him alone. He goes up into the peaks of the mountains and finds a Bazigal, a half-dragon sorcerer who is in control of the dragons in the region. He waits until the dragons get sent out to hunt before going in to fight this member, also realizing that he must be one of the five. Now, a Bazigal, in his attempts to rile Abdel, inform him that he has killed Jaheira and did not keep her prisoner. And Abdel, in his rage, is barely able to deal with a Bazigal. And against his wills, Saravak ends up joining the fight, and together they're able to defeat a Bazigal. This causes Abdel to once again journey into the realm of Bhaal. And during his time there, Saravak ends up fighting the pet dragons that return. When Abdel returns to the material plane, he finds that Saravak is now dead, as well as many of the pet dragons, and the few that aren't have fled. Knowing that his only person that he cares for anymore is Imoen, he decides to return to a Mechathron. While he is doing this, a drow and another member of the five by the name of Sendai attacks Imoen and kills her, and leaves her in such a state that she can never be revived. This happens all under Melisande's nose, and Melisande has no knowledge that Sendai ever arrived or attacked. In the video games, Sendai is a cleric and a mage. But in In the novels, she is an assassin, and she uses her skills of stealth much to her advantage in being able to do this task and get out unnoticed. While Abdel is on the road journeying back, Sindai then goes to attack Abdel and uses traps to ensnare him. Between her poisons and her enchanted weapons, Abdel is pushed to the brink, and the only way he's able to defeat her is to transform into the Slayer. And as the Avatar Bhaal, he is able to kill her, leaving the only member of the 5 left is the only one who hasn't revealed themselves. It is on his final return to Mechthron that we find out that the final member of the 5 is the human that was in charge of the monastery, Balthazar. And upon Abdel finally meeting Balthazar, he sees that he is tattooed all over his body, and realizes these tattoos are the runes that have been enchanting the weapons that have stopped his regenerative powers. After journeying deep into the monastery, he ends up fighting Balthazar. And Balthazar not only defeats him in his normal form, but also with Abdel turning into the Slayer, Balthazar defeats him as the Slayer as well. Balthazar tries to ascend and journey into the realm of Bhaal, but no portal opens for him due to all the training that he has done to lock away the essence of Bhaal inside of him. He comes to realize that the only person who can journey into the realm of Bhaal and stop the threat that has tried to unleash itself is Abdel. So, when Abdel comes back to consciousness, he tells him that he needs to kill him and journey into the realm of Bhaal, and informs him that the real villain this whole time has been Melisande. That Melisande is actually Bhaal's high priestess, and she has orchestrated this whole event for what he thought was to bring Bhaal back to life. But in reality, she wishes to become Bhaal herself. After killing Balthazar at his suggestion, Abdel journeys once again into the realm of Bhaal, and now, unlike any of the times before, is full of life, as most of the essence of Bhaal has now returned to this realm. Here, he sees Melisande again, and she has already started the process of transforming herself into a deity. And in this altered form, the final fight begins. Using all of his strength and prowess and everything that he has learned up to this point, he is finally able to defeat her. And in doing so, Solar, the angel that has overseen all of these events and been only a guide as needed, presents himself to him and gives him an option. He can either now transcend and become the new Bhaal, or he can lock his Bhaal essence away in Mount Celestia and become mortal fully once again. Taking the latter option, he returns to Candlekeep to try to live out his days in peace, until he eventually goes on to Baldur's Gate and becomes the next Grand Duke, and lives out his days there. And that is the end of story of Abdel Adrian. And this is where we pick up the story for Baldur's Gate 3. Now, as I've said before, it is nearly a century after these events that Baldur's Gate 3 will take place, and we still have a little bit more of lore to cover for that could affect the things for Baldur's Gate 3. And I will discuss that in our next video as I break down the events of Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, the standard D&D tabletop campaign. So I hope you'll join me for that, and thank you for sitting through my breakdown of the story of the Baldur's Gate trilogy of novels.